point platform, TPPT. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Talking point platform, TPPTV. Oh, yeah. Unale we pledge, we love and loyalty to we sweet mama salute. Now we all come together as well. For tomorrow, now we go make salute. And it's how will you there? It no matter. Sky will you be? It no matter. Anything you they do, it no matter. Oh yeah, it no matter. Now we putting up stronger one. Inside Sierra Leone, like a big quantity. We breeze not a shame. TPPTV.
Yes, family, now welcome back to yet another very important program. Na TPP Talking Point platform. One of the fastest online TV. And probably the reason why we did go so fast now because we did always try to bring calm the facts and the truth to the people, because there's difference between the truth and the fact. And the fact in most cases now waiting government they present to people and waiting some organization they present and the truth they. So we mix them two tier. And again, we want to tell we viewers and plenty thank you because I know they support this particular platform, and now because at least the NSSF once the country go before. My name na Mohamed Kago, and the topic now the Pademba Road prison attempted break. The reports don't come out 3 days ago where the government of Sierra Leone do investigation and pull out. So we can try to understand really if the questions that where a lot of people be asked, if they answer. But before we go further, let me just take people and back to history. On the 29th of this year, April, there was a riot which started around 7:30, according to the director of prison, the director general of prison, where some skirmishes begin to take place along the line, where result to the death of people and property then lost. And before the 8, 9, 10 around, we begin to see social media light up with videos, show some destruction, smoke they come out everywhere. And we in this platform will be try at least to come up with a segment and for can explain to people. However, after 11 o'clock, where the thing died down, according to the prison of the director general of prisons, we found out that there are different discrepancies of information. Some people say 40 people and die. Some say 38 people and die. Some say 92 die. So it will be confusing. But the thing we actually didn't have people in mind why this thing happened. And just before this particular day, 2 days before this incident, that is the April 27, there was a post going around the social media where talk about exactly about this incident again for happen. But a lot of people ignore because not anything where they see social media you take them for granted, and probably within the month of April Fool, people are not taken. And indeed it happened. So people are beginning to understand what is happening. And it creates a serious security threat around the Freetown, even the country as a whole. So finally, our government don't release this report. Now, we see some lapses along don't they follow even when this report don't come out. And for April for local understand this talk better one, we invite one of the serious civil society organizations where we believe in Sierra Leone, where don't they advocate for the same thing. And again, we all know say this issue now issue of interest to the international community. So today in our presence, we are blessed because the head of the Campaign for Human Rights Development International, were headed by Abdul Fatorma, one of the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer. They with we for can't tell we what that they won't take as civil society. If the questions that where people are asked, if the government really be able to put all this into a perspective. So we want to welcome her and tell her plenty thank you, because even though we get very short notice, he quickly accepts. It shows, yes, indeed, not only respect, he respect the Salon people. And so we want to give kudos to this. Mr. Fatorma, you can say hi. Welcome to TPP, and you can say hi to Fambule.
Yeah. Hello, we people them, and I want to say thank you to the station for letting them create this platform.
Okay, thank you very much again. So first, I'm also most probably you don't get a full concept about waiting the government release. Now, large people are waiting the government release for me. According to the government, they said the causes of this mayhem, the riot will be take place on April 29. One, as a result of overcrowding. Then tell we say the prison what we get so today, they make in 1914, and it only meant for 324 people. And as we speak, according to the Director General of Prison, the time where this thing will take place now, 1,300 prisoners and they went like 400%. That's now one of the issue. And secondly, they say it happened because they be understaffed. And again, then continue. They say one of the reasons make it happen again are because of the COVID restrictions along the line, and so on and so on. And again, then finally confirm say now 31 people and died. And again, the Director General confirms yes, indeed. Then, according to the Constitution or their own book, they guide them. Then get right for use lethal force whenever a prisoner they try for escape. The law give them permission for do this. And again, then go further for tell we say, what did I plan for doing feature and for relocate the prison to somewhere else where they don't buy like 88 acres of land, and they will try for recruit more prison officers there. But this is just waiting at their own side where they just present to we. So now we ask the people that were at the ground, where they talk for we all, the civil society activists then for let them tell me what I own take. Now, Mr. Fatorma, this now what in government say. So what you now own take as civil society? You mic, sir. Mike.
Thank you very much. This is a good question where millions of Sierra Leoneans in and out of Sierra Leone will go want an accurate answer to. We organization they on record when the issue, I mean, now even clear saying a riot. First, we will get a mixed description of the event. Government officials, we are referring to it as a prison break. And so on, so other Sierra Leoneans. When AYV called me and the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs, Lawrence Lima, I began to say on that program, the incident will take place, an unlawful killing of innocent people. You know, innocent in the sense I was not considering about their crime, but considering how harmless they were as people. You know, and when unmanned then enter the jail yard and open fire on people the way they beyond bars, where they not get access to any weapon. So a lot of threats become, say, why me for say that? But the report we then publish, where government of Australia not publish, clearly, I mean, give the evidence in my favor that I was right, you know, considering that as a killing, you know, of people unlawfully, even though the law give them the power. But then here is a description from the government that these guys then develop a clique or a gang, rivaling gang at a prison. I mean, as a prison, you not a security, I mean, arm, you get for a very, very much alert and work with intelligence, because the people the way they go beyond bars, they put them beyond bars because of if they remain in a society, some of them based on the crimes that they commit, then go cause more atrocity to the society. So then put them yonder for create a restriction and create a boundary between them and the populace. So when once when I know say a group of gang, they try for develop and arrive a gang, this is something that needs to pull to halt immediately as soon as possible. But if we're not aware about that, it's continue going on. Then when something escalates, I mean cleverly and lazily, when I want for like tie them into, them, I mean to that as a scapegoat, then it's become very dishonest to the people of this country. The incident will happen April 29. I mean, it's not only a prison riot. I mean, these were a national security threat on the people of this country. And because it becomes a national threat on the people of this country, it's every single bit of pieces of things will happen there. It should be under the light, towards the people of this country. First of all, government for them constitute an independent panel, a credible Sierra Leoneans. Then we for them they on that panel and do an investigation. After investigation, that panel come up with findings and recommendations, as to how the prison management system for be and as to what actually happened, which ignite the whole thing. But you cannot be a player and a referee at the same time, and then you don't consider to be a rogue, and definitely the end result you're gonna be favor your very self, because then you say 10 people the way for go America if you dey Africa, you don't go country self last, then say no, the plane don't full up. Now 9 people space there, so you wait the number 10, you left. So always people cannot just say number 1 to myself. So I mean, because they give you the opportunity to count people who should benefit, and that's the ref. You're not the KD master. So when you're not the KD master, even in Osusu, they always give themselves, a better position, in those things. So that's that, for transparency's sake. That the reason that they always good at in international standard, you set up independent panel. People that will know say no go compromise. People that will know say the integrity much more than the money way anybody can splash to them. But that was not done in this process. We will not see any report. We're not fortunate for see a report. We're fortunate for see words and we then tell we. And these words are words that they want to force on us to believe as the gospel truth, to believe as the holy Quran say or the Holy Bible say, this is truth, nothing but the truth. And which some of we institution get a very discomfortable, approach towards the way and manner. We all know say Pademba Road is overcrowded. And Pademba Road Correctional Center, we want to let the people of Sierra Leone know say Pademba Road Correctional Center, not the only prison facility were overcrowded across the world. Even the United States, United Kingdom, we might be plus overcrowded. But overcrowding, I think we're a uniform with prison facility. If we build a new facility where they accommodate 4,000 people, trust me, before we run a year or two, we might have an overcrowding system. Because we have a space, we say, let us continue for put criminals in there. And the sad thing to the people who lost their life and the family members, now the fact remains that we not get a data facility, where they're able for identify the identity of most of them people then they. Some people then they will go Pademba Road Correctional Center. They have actually nothing to do there. Why are they say this? Because we don't investigate matters of this several times. now this country we see, because if it's somebody highly connected and very powerful or you get money, if you slap in Peking or you cussing girlfriend or a woman, they go on a police go complain you, or it not even go, now call you they call. Then police then they can book you, or maybe book your entire family. This come to mind an issue where I addressed yesterday. You know, a particular guy in the eastern part of Freetown, say in cousin, na in the LUC, na you know, one police post na the Kutolo and the other by a pro school. So he called this in cousin, then go gather one family. This woman, a big woman in Pekin and they in the 30s, then you know, a naked one, they just send her with him pants inside, they kissy waiting self. This way, I they say, it connect to waiting the foundation where I've been tried for bail. If they not be call me for make her intervene for let them release them people then they, because somebody else want for take advantage on them. When the Kisi police station for don't full up, you guess what? Then they taught them bring them come. Now the correctional female, you know, the female correctional center, they can't put them there. So the female correctional center now not get a actual, you know, reason why these people they can't. They don't hold people them from Calbaton. Then bring them come to Eastern Police, police cell. They pull them Eastern Police and count them at Central. Central then go then at Adelaide Street. Adelaide Street then count how you call this place? New England. New England then go them back na Congo Cross. Congo Cross where they enter then bring them come Usai Pademba Road. Then say because they not get side for keep them. This one grain individual, them tour around with her. It go end up na Pademba Road. It spent 3 good years na Pademba Road. Now when we do, you know, an investigation, we able for know say such a person there and we get an interview with her. We able for, you know, present a matter out. Then they look for another prison there. They go out. We have more than, you know, 500 of those people, you know, male and female, young men and young boys, within our correctional centers or with police cells. We basically not get any records that are various center we hold them. So that be another challenge. Then the other sad thing in this case, how when I go bury the other one them, how when I able to identify them? Then when I put forward the other 24, then when I say that one there, we need a family member them for identify them. So go give them befitting burial. So why the other one then? Why the early rush? Why whether they befitting or not befitting burial? I mean, government coming to play an answer game into this gives us more questions, you know, and we need more answer than, you know, the thing where they bring for, then try for present to we as a citizens. I mean, it becomes a very huge concern, you know, for a human rights organization. I mean, we have standards, and Sierra Leone is part of, you know, almost all the international human rights instrument them. The International Covenant on Civic and Political Rights, the International Covenant on Social, Cultural, and Political Rights, you know, the African chapter, you know, all of these make provisions for protect and give dignity of people that wait in a detention. It doesn't mean that you have been an accused person or a convict where they're beyond bars. Your human dignity should be taken away, or you should be subjected to torture. The international laws are against that.
Yeah, thank you very much. It really shocking because we know immediately after this incident took place, the president, His Excellency Dr. Madabio, they come out with a very strong statement where he blamed the APC, the opposition, say to some extent or largely that they are responsible for some of the skirmishes, riots that take place along the line. But what is some of we, what is shock some of we, even for that speech day, and not even extend condolences to the victims because before then, we even the vice president was in the prison. Then we don't talk about people and on that, although the figure will not be come out yet. So I want to feel as civil society for the government already know how we are, because first-hand information, the minister, the vice president, they all on the line say, Sierra Leoneans and that. Why would they say so? Because we see them country they are. If we want life that, where it now concerned to the president, the minister in charge, they come out plain, they come out publicly, they extend condolences. Now, so I feel say civilized societies and around the world they do. When I ask civil society, they talk for years. Ordinary people, like, I want to be feel about that particular statement. I'm not saying some of these come to light.
The thing where people then they fail for realize is this: when you take up office as a president, you are the father of that nation within that constitutional rights period where you get, and you get for uphold any law we govern the people of this country. Like I said, we get an international covenant rights on civic and political rights. We talk about prisons. I think it's Article 10. And the African chapter, Article 5, specifically. Sierra Leone is a signatory. We have signed and ratified. And a situation like that will happen. Either the minister, the president, or the government as a whole express their sincere condolence, for the loss of life, and assure the general public that this issue, we go investigate them and get back to UNA and set up an inquiry into the manner or way how them people there die. So that not be present. I mean, I don't get shocky when we lose lives in this country, when it's the authorities not the express concern. More when we lose life, they look at people then wait and say, a destitute, people then we not important. But they are important. They are part of our society. They are part of us, and they are there because of certain activities we then do. We characterize in a criminal way. But then there are people there as well, where the court of law not convict them yet, say they are criminals. They are there as a holding center, coming to court or even waiting for trials. And some have been there for over 3-4 years without even seeing a judge, And so 1 or 2 or 3 of them, or 10 of them, the possibility is there, maybe. Now then die so. So you look at that, a man was executed without trial. A man was killed. A woman was killed, maybe, without trial. And they're not able, at the male correctional center. But like I say, we get a crisscross. And when you look at the whole situation where we be, it can be against the APC versus the SLPP. That was the picture from the 29th and downwards. You can see SLPP leadership, they pull audio, they accuse the APC, and they claim say they were there and XYZ time, and later on distortion of videos and audio messages, and that come with a clear dishonest from the onset, that it gives a rocky stone that the people then teeth that said this is not going to be comfortable. The outcome is not going to be comfortable. And that is the outcome we have. We don't have anything that tell we say we go look into the killing of them people then did. All what we have is the umbrella law that gives them power. If any inmates put up resistance, they get a right for shooting, kill. I mean, that is where the handcuff. But then, let we know why men then, when I say they enter at this place forcefully. When you say somebody entered a place forcefully, that it was unwelcome person.
Okay.
But if somebody We're not a part of your security routine, working forcefully. What are the measures for let tomorrow, if a riot happen, how well it will be coordinated and only invited security personnel go be there, not security personnel that will force their way. Weapon.
Yeah, very well. That's one thing where I just want like you comment on, because even the director of prisons, Director General, admits say yes, indeed, there was a break in intelligence, because like I mentioned earlier, on the 27th of April, there was a post circulating everywhere on the social media. We get a screenshot of her, but people are not taken granted for say this thing they happen, and indeed it happened. So and you mentioned in the preamble about something of national security. How safe Sierra Leone be where things like this they happen? So somebody will just post something and it did happen.
We are only protected by the grace of God. That's how we are. If you actually talk about real security, no. Because this is a country where even State House, I don't know if you know the non-fixed CCTV camera there. The CCTV camera are not functionable. You go now a few ministries, their CCTV camera is for one purpose, to know who visiting them. You know, their CCTV camera is not actually to record activities and stores those activities. So should in case of anything will lead to evidence, I mean, they might ask them, you know, for abstract that very part there and bring them camera. So a whole building, you go some ministries, not only outside the reception there, outside the waiting room there, that's where the CCTV camera are. But other than that, nothing. And within a country where the security personnel, both the military and the police, for money, then they compromise and relax security details. You know, the very correctional center, you go there now, you see soldier man and OSD, then relax. They're not the patrol. Then just sit on one side. Then gather themselves, bunch themselves one side. Sit down there with this. I mean, that's not security. You know, and you go now with police stations, no CCTV camera, not it. That way they ensure, say, knows record the footprint of those who comes in and those who comes out. You're gonna with border entry point them. You see a lot of compromise, you know, of people who are not allowed to be in this country. But because of money and other gifts, the security of this country gonna be compromised. And the fact that, say, an ordinary civilian who belongs to a political party can come over here through audio and say, I was there on, you know, very odd hours, while others we are sleeping, enjoying their sleep. So the question is, what have you been able to do? Why you were allowed to be there? Even you're a business partner, I mean, we got business hours.
Yeah,
so, you know, so when we talk about compromise, I mean, these are the magnitude at which with security issue in this country compromise. Let me give you the root of that. The root of that is that we as a nation, we have politicized every fabric of group in this country. The moment the moment one administration comes into power, then get the young people then they put at front line. Even the other officers that are inexperienced, they're going to bring them at the front and put the experienced officers at the back. Those who are close to retirement will be forcefully forced to be retired. Or they will place them uncomfortable place for them. If they want, they left the force. If they want, they go be out the bush and send them. We have seen this over decades. We are comfortable with it as a nation. And we're not for comfortable with it as a nation, because whenever one of them backfire, it comes to us. You know, like the ashtray you took away, then they run after you. So these are some of the challenges where we get as a country. You go to the police, it's political. You go to the military, it's political. You go to a government place, they don't like this, like say no mix with security thing. But come on, man, say the truth. I mean, we are Australians. We know what is going on.
Yes, there is one concern as civil society. Now that the government of Sierra Leone were supposed by constitution for protect the lives of each and every Sierra Leonean, don't publicly admit, say, yes, indeed, then kill. And then quotes like a blanket umbrella from constitution, whatever, give them the leverage. If it's like you mentioned, there are people that were not convicted. They are not criminal yet. They are just there as a part of the process for all them. And government don't agree, say yes, then kill some of them people there. It's not about who gave those orders. If it's at least in this report, government for mention some form of compensation for the lives of those people that would then take unlawfully. Because an officer then because I'm not mentioned at the report. As civil society, if it's a government for mention something like this, or what do they do for them people that will die for get justice as civil society? I know it's very difficult, but what on your role?
Yeah, first of all, we organization in position is that we don't want the figures. We want the names and identity of those who government have confirmed that they have lost their life. So then we can able to know in what basis they were at the Pademba Road prison. If these were people who were waiting for trial, under what circumstances they were executed. This independent panel can be set up and look into the death of then 31 people then day. But the correctional officer, when I won, and the 30 people that were, detainees or prisoners and, we've been in at the center. Since that now government confirms that they don't die, government forget the names them. If we get a proper prison management system, if we get a name them, they age them, the next of kin them. So the fact that say they want the family members and come forward, but then if your family members are able to come forward, other countries display the names of those people, their age group, and also, their addresses, the way they enter the correctional center. So when we get those identifications, then we can ask in for more further investigation. Now the government don't do a very fantastic job for uproot, come up, say, this is the exact figure. Yes, that's their own. But can they now create a platform for independent investigators, really for investigate this matter by disclosing and actually, given the names of these people. Coming to compensation, we laws in this country, it's so brutal against citizens. I want to say now therefore law reforms and constitutional reform, Other countries like Uganda, South Africa, you cannot just arrest a citizen like that. You have to compensate for unlawful arrest, unlawful prosecution, wrongful prosecution, and so on and so forth. So this is not a country where if government kill you, it will just do ajo to you. But there's no established law. And the other country, the way they talk about redress, a compensation. And we want for outrightly say, no amount of money not able to provide life for people. We don't see people that don't go prison and come back and turn the entire nation into a paradise. We don't see people that go to prison and come back, turn the entire community into a better community than it was before when he entered a prison. So it's not everybody who are beyond bars, are that worst or they are not useful to society. That is one thing we as a nation needs to learn, and that is one thing we need to know. The concern here is that we don't really, for ages, say from Pakaba in time, and Eskroma in time, and Mother Bio in time, we really said and they relocate Pademba Road. It has never happened. We haven't seen anything to progressive like that. You go Kenema, when we see the Kenema prisons situation, when we ask some of the prisoners where they did, if you sleep for 2 hours, you get for some grab, probably comping back lay down. So if they see you comping and go, they keep time for you, whilst you lay down, the thief sleep. Then they wake you, then themselves get their own sleep. I mean, so we overcrowded, a widespread and stretch. So it's not only when we talk about the Freetown Main Correctional Center, we should be talking about the provincial towns as well. So, I mean, a lot much needs to be done, when it comes to prison management in this country, because already with people then they live there in degrading, inhuman treatment, the sanitation very poor. They were already, hardly hit, by very poor situation. They were corona come, then put somebody they will get corona. So that bring the hunger as alleged, and so on and so forth. But then when the entire incident happened, to this point, it has been more discussed on political front than it discussed on national and honesty, platform. As to we have now they then say then get a very weak administrative system of managing prison, and that would have been worried, the country and the government at large. That what do we need to do? And mind you, we talk about the security till the time where that incident may happen. No CCTV camera not been in at the prison. Probably I might say that one of the prison at the world we not get CCTV camera. And even Brazil, another country, they get CCTV camera where they monitor the activities of both the inmates and the correctional officers. But if we don't have that, it's what they tell us, it's what we should believe, because we are not India.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, CEO. This issue is still get some questions there were a lot of people in the asked were not come up with. Like, for example, the issue of Fatmata Sawane, where some people are, let's say, even one some videos will be they go around, even Lima before the incident, and government not mention that at all. As civil society, what's on our next step for make sure, say, like you say, if you're not the ref and you blow the game over and you go celebrate with the winners, people then go accuse you, even if you're not genuine. Now, government, they investigate this, now they do this, now they carry out this investigation, then bring down this, then say, now this happened, and this happened. But people still get some questions unanswered. People from all walks of life, including UNA, where a lot of people respect and look up to UNA. What's our next step, UNA as civil society, for make sure say more information comes out?
Yeah, if you would get me clear, the two things that way you don't say, these are things that we address. Like, for example, it's clear, it's on record that we organization, it's clear and it's on record that we organization very, very discomfortable with this report, that we organization not pleased with this report because we not see much openness, much transparent, in the process, because we are only told by the vice president that they will investigate this matter. No timeline was given to us, as a people of this country. And one afternoon, some people just be informed through social media, a live coverage from the Ministry of Information that say the MG for the correctional, center, they give update on the report, where be happen, the incident will be happen at Pademba Road. I also talk about SAPP executive members who put out audios, about their presence being there on a very odd time, whilst we were sleeping. And were they investigated? And we should have known that whether the investigator, they asked some questions for let it tell we, since the audio will become, it seems for know exactly that such a thing is going to happen, and it's happened, and how comes, what's in source, why, but like you rightly said, we didn't get informed whether that this number of people they talk to, now that X number of people they talk to. They're not giving the category of people the way they talk to. I mean, we might not need names, but we want to know. What are they? Which sectors and where you talk to? But just coming out and tell we say, oh, we overcrowded by 400 plus. We get shortage of staff. We service of conditions very poor. We get power for kill anybody we riot against we. Now the place. As that now we mandate. We begin some security personnel them. We forcefully enter.
Yeah, family. Okay. All right. I think we lost. Okay, he's back. All right. Sorry for that small interruption there. Yes, you can go ahead.
Yeah. The only thing we say, they forcefully enter and calm the situation. I mean, you have the power already to shoot and kill. So if you call for help, let's know that we're not ask for help. But you didn't say we're not call for help. You say some security, armed security men enter the premise forcefully. So why was the forceful entry for an unauthorized security personnel? That is how I would describe them, because that is how the report really one level describe them. If I broke inside your house without your invitation, then I forcefully I enter, meaning I was unauthorized to enter into your home.
Okay.
So this should be concern for us as a nation. Why do we allow unauthorized armed security men to carry out that killing? And if they were not invited, for can help for calm the situation, because the picture where the director of the correctional service creates, it's not like these people were invited. He said then come. He said the other one that we come then send tear gas for let them calm the situation, but still the situation not become in another few minutes or then in see another security force, then we forcefully enter at the place and calm the situation. The word here is forcefully. Forcefully is not a welcoming news. It's not somebody who was authorized. So who were these people?
Yes, well, that is the point. And Sierra Leoneans then far by wide in terms of interest in the politics of the country. They don't far more grow than any time in history of the country. This is because we don't say if we continue for just keep quiet, because most of the term of recent time where governments they react now because of the power of the social media. When they see an issue, they not say if they not come up with something, and this is one of the issue because of the pressure from civil society, from political actors, from the ordinary people, from the social media itself, make them institute this. Okay, the question is how the civil society go all governments accountable in future, let something like this not happen again. We not get any mechanism or any strategy or not they put in place for let things like this not ever repeat again, for let people are just in a prison, like I said, they just murder them just like this, with no due respect out of it. What's on your own responsibility with in the future?
Well, not in future. I mean, present. We, your organization, get a consultative status with the United Nations Social and Economic Council. The United Nations Social and Economic Council, that the UN charter body, and the way they work with NGOs and civil society across the world. And the moment United Nations grants you that special consultative statusship, you get now a power for technically advise government on and United Nations on that you mandate thing the way you work on it. For example, we they work on human rights, rule of law, social justice. We can file a report to the United Nations. When we file a report to the United Nations Human Rights Council and the United Nations, Security Council or the United Nations General Assembly Secretariat, then can look into that thing and straight away summon the country, engage the country. We have done that against the government of Australia not once, and we're not going to stop. Very recently, the UN for Women then get a Human Rights Commission where they request each organizations will get a status globally for filing a human rights report against women the way you think say they don't violate their rights and the state don't agree for respect their rights. And the Convention Against Torture in a cut. Now one key thing with the UN Human Rights, council very respectful to. So then can ask organizations and like we for filing a report, about that situation. So the April 29 incident, we don't capture that. We don't write about them. We don't get the government report. We don't analyze them within the human rights framework. And we prepare for submitter. So, I mean, United Nations get a way where it engage the state members in a way of cautioning them that what you do wrong, they're part of the best international practice. And you see some government can deviate from that. And if your government remain stubborn, when the international community gang up against a poor nation, they now dictate to you order for rule. So that can be the consequence. So we are not going to say in future that not going to happen or that not going to happen. But we, as a campaign for human rights and development international, we get a global platform, with the United Nations, European Union, and African Union. We don't use African Union because African Union is the same way things operate in Australia. We use the United Nations platform more because you get some level-headed people in there. We're going to say enough is enough. Let's treat this issue as an independent and serious issue. So we use those platforms. So when things can happen, we talk some in the public, then the rest are left with me and the one the way with the work. Then definitely you see huge amount of changes.
Okay, family, and not forget this program they can through Talking Points platform. And today we look at the prison riots attempts break, where government released a report 3 days ago, where talk about key issues that will really happen. And now that we discuss. And following, if you just the January, governments release this, then then blame overcrowding, then blame COVID-19. Then blame shortage of staff, and that make we feel say enough. We need to bring in people with high level of experience who engage in human rights issues and for help we talk about this stuff. And in the studios again, just in case in January, we get the CEO of Campaign for Human Rights Development International, Mr. Fatorma. Yeah, Mr. Fatorma, just for run up the program now. What are your last word where you get for family would listen you and to the government as a whole?
But me not killing for say last word. Making only can give a comment, on the closing of the program. Me the thing about we as a country, government, lack respect for human rights, rule of law, and due process. This has been a uniform thing with us. We have been sleeping and waking with this. And it is high time we as Sierra Leoneans, we ask ourselves, do we deserve this such life? This kind of way we live a life. The fortunate thing is that some of we don't live out of this country. And we know how some other countries and then get their own bad governance and get all the things. But we know how then they treat the majority with due process. And we know how then they respect their own laws. But when it comes to us, why are we so inhuman with one another? And when we come for address issues of national interest, national concern, we politicize them into we own political interest, into we own political gain and political capital. And some of we, during the APC time, they say, me a SLPP agent. And now, this very SLPP among the rank and file, then they say, me a APC agent. Me a APC mouthpiece. I get past, 2 dozen screenshot messages, them of people the way they cost me, mama, and say, me a APC. Me a spokesperson for APC. When they condemn the administration in a moment, the next thing they link you to the main opposition. The same people where they fight for, these are the same people. Like when we fight for the 244 workers and when they be fired and statistics, about them benefits. It was all over in this country that Abdul Fatorma don't took APC, where APC be local, they not been doing fine, if they be killing enough of the they've done. But those people are not APC, they are Sierra Leoneans. I care less which political party they support or which political party they vote for. Our own point of call for them, our recognitions for them, they are nobody but Sierra Leoneans. But they are entitled constitutionally to associate themselves with any group or to form any group. But if they were fired on illegal basis, on procedural basis, and we as a human rights organization, we cannot stand and watch such inhuman activity. But this country, the insincerity is so deep into our heart that we only see things from political point of view. If you benefit your kinsman, it's not. This administration, they get so many people where we and go the same school, both school. There's so many people that we and come out the same region, Southeast, the South region, like Bond, for example. But they're gonna say, we don't know what they really want at this one. Yeah, you know what I want? I want a peaceful society. I don't want money. I need money, yes, but I prefer peace than money.
Okay, we want to tell you plenty thank you for left your busy schedule, and we hope for see you back on the program. So family, now so this program they come now so we end this program from the Talking Points platform. And again, just like we promise sooner and we don't deliver the promise. And when this issue will take place, we come up with that, we make a broadcast and we say we go follow this issue. And it seems as if now the end part of this from the government's part. Government don't do the investigation, but until from civil society organizations like the Campaign for Human Rights Development International, they don't plan for take this issue even further, because the questions are whether in your mind, whether in most Sierra Leonean in mind, it go unanswered. So many. And again, as time that goes on, we go try for again for invite Abdul Fatorma for it can the program can tell we about this issue. We self want to know how this thing they go, because yes, this now a concern for each and every Sierra Leonean. There comes a time when even the survival of a country, if I put on like a survival of your life, we have obligation to the next generation for pass on, just like what in Fatorma said, a peaceful society. We are in for Sierra Leoneans, regardless of which tribe, regardless of a region, regardless of a political dispensation. You know, we are all political animals. Your rights for belong, but your country for can force. That's not the key point. And that make we are as TPP people, we want to contribute to the nation in development, on the sole basis of putting Salon first. So anything where they push Salon before, we there for her. So we want to use this opportunity once more for tell una plenty thank you. We know say una trust this platform, and we go continue for bring for a more credible, transparent, clear understanding of issues that will take place in our country far and wide. Me bring the program to una, me na Mohammed Kagbo. Until we meet again, una goodbye.